Hi, welcome to your reading, another video. So today I want to talk about standing poses and their deeper meaning. And I have to say that over the years, I have definitely had a 180 on it. So I changed my opinion about them, about their relevance, 180 degrees. So in order to understand where I'm coming from and why I had why I changed my view, I have to first get back to how standing poses ended up in yoga, and also about why I changed, like what changed in me, that even though I still think that is how they ended up in it, their origin story, that I now value them more. So the general idea is that standing poses ended up in yoga in the 19th century. So considering that the philosophy of yoga in the form of the Yoga Sutras by Patanjali was thousands of years before Christ, the standing poses were late to the party, so to speak. And there are there's at least one lineage, which is the lineage of the Ashtanga Yoga, as taught by Patabi Joyce, and that claims that there are banana leaves that have been copied over the years, because if you write something on a banana leaf, it will decay. So that lineage claims that there have been banana leaves where the standing poses of Ashtanga Yoga have been, that they are older, and that they have been passed down through history. So there are different versions to the story, but I would say the most broadly accepted idea is that they were not part of yoga until the late 19th century, and that they originated from, I think, Norwegian or Danish military exercises. So that's the general idea. So they are military training devices or tools or not tools. They're exercises. They're military exercises. And the reason they ended up in yoga is because India was still governed by England, and this was a way that they could start practicing fighting skills without it being an obvious act of rebellion. So this is a story that is related to, for example, capoeira, which is a dancing skill, but it was also developed as a fighting skill, covered up as a dance. So so that's the generally accepted story about how standing poses ended up in yoga thousands of years after the word yoga and the philosophy of yoga were invented. So maybe because I knew this history, I don't know if that was really the reason, but in general, I just classified them as not having a lot of meaning. Standing poses to me were much like, you can do standing poses or you go to the gym. I didn't really attribute any higher meaning to them. And as far as they did have any meaning to me, it was in the area of developing a healthy ego. So with the warrior poses, you step 1 foot forward and you step 1 foot back, and it is really kind of like it's a symbolic way to see how much space you're comfortable taking up. someone with a healthy ego is able to really make that stance very wide, really boldly stretch the arms out in warrior pose, clearly taking up space. And so I did recognize that they were powerful in developing your ego, but not really in, that it did not hold any spiritual meaning beyond that. So that was my original take on the standing poses. And I think that the fact that I knew that they were not old, the poses, that they were added at such a late date, must have contributed to having that opinion or being so opinionated about it. And now that, I don't know, I've, just way older, I'm decades older than I was, I have a different opinion, because I think that standing poses carry a wonderful and important meaning, because we are the only species that is standing up, and it is highly symbolic of who we are here on Earth and between the other species. So there, just like with the standing poses, there are different versions about how the Earth came into being, who we as humans are, who created us, or if we evolved from, which is like the general idea that we evolved from the apes. So if we again, but it really doesn't matter if you like which story you believe, but it doesn't matter for the meaning of the poses. But for now, we're just going to go with the idea that we're from the apes. And in standing up straight, our pelvis, the bones of our pelvis, were tilted. And that was very much a risky move, because if you stand up straight like we humans do, then the pelvis tilts and we become more unstable. So walking on two legs is way more unstable. We can see further. We're no longer bound to the earth, but we're also no longer really connected to the earth the way other animals are. And it was a very risky move. And the birth of children became much more complicated after we started walking up straight. So there is kind of like a move that a newborn has to make in order to come out of their mother. And that move is directly related to the fact that we as a species are walking up straight. So it was a pretty bold move of us to to start walking up straight. And if you believe in a theory of creation, it was a pretty bold move to design us in a way that we were walking up straight. And but well, either way, however we came into being, we are now walking up straight. And it has separated us from the earth and from other species, and it is directly related to our consciousness, but also to our ego. And so it came with consequence. The fact that we are a standing species comes with consequence. We are kind of like, it is, in essence, it is who we are. We are a standing species. So I like, I'm really like, now, how could I not see that? How could I not attribute, great meaning to that? And so I have changed my opinion on that. And I think that standing poses are a beautiful way to connect with that, with the meaning of who we are as humans, and how our physical body has separated us, but has also given us great responsibility. So there are people who say like, okay, because of the fire, we started developing brains, because of the fire, we started eating meat, and then our brains started developing, and that was the thing that made us different. But I would argue it was the fact that we started to stand up, literally, and that is what created it, and that is what is still expressing really who we are. And so I think standing poses are very important, because it is it's where you will experience your humanness, including the task or the difficult aspects of it. So the struggle that you encounter, you're standing on your mat, you're doing your exercises, and you have that brain that keeps firing all those thoughts. And it does that, especially in the standing poses, because they have such high vigilance in them. Yeah, and they were military exercises for a reason. To experience that vigilant mind and that expansive ego, and the weight of being the species that is standing up and that can oversee life, the weight of being a conscious being, that is experienced, and that is confronting. I think the standing poses are the most confronting of all of them, because it really puts you toe to toe with your place on this earth. There's no avoiding it. It's it's confrontational, and in that confrontation is beauty, because it's the confrontation with yourself. It's not the confrontation with an enemy outside of you. It's yourself that is that you're eye to eye with. So that was my my reading for you on the deeper meaning of standing poses. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next one. Namaste.